A few days ago, we posted the first one of these offline editions, and we're back. We're going to do another 20 minutes or so just to pile through these and see if we can critique a few more first lines that were sent in just in April. But first of all, Becca, how are you doing today? I know it's a few days have passed since we last spoke.
So many days. These days have been great. So full, so enriching. Really great. Amazingly, it's another beautiful day in Massachusetts.
Hey, and I'm wearing this t-shirt again, so
it's incredible that I look like this all the time, actually, right when I wake up.
But yeah, I know you've been just had some books arrived.
Yes.
About your new book haul.
I do have. Am I allowed to show these books? I mean, I haven't read them yet, so I can't endorse them. But I've just gotten this beautiful book, Middle Game. Isn't it so pretty?
You can certainly endorse the cover. It's great.
I can endorse the cover. I mean, I feel really strongly about this. If you're not buying books because they're pretty, why are you buying them? Then I've gotten this one, A Woman Is No Man, which I'm really excited about. And there's no time like a pandemic to tackle Cloud Atlas. So that's what I'm going to do. I've been meaning to read this for a long time, and just seems like that time is probably now.
Hey, considering we're hitting the midpoint of this, if you're not deep into your reading by now, then you might miss out on it.
I'm deep into reading, and right next to me is actually like a giant bin of my like crocheting work. I'm just producing like blankets, and I'm getting ready for like winter in the middle of April. I'm just getting ready for what's next because I'm trying to keep my hands busy and my brain fresh. And
nice. We'll have to talk about time, but we've started crocheting as well. We've got all these granny squares that we're making into a blanket at some point.
Are you really? Okay. All right. Well, you know what? I'm just going to show you. I have a new niece who was just born last night. And so I'm making her a baby blanket.
That's delightful.
Yeah, it's going to be very cute. And I'm working on the border now, and it's taking me forever because I keep having to frog my stitches when I screw up. But it's going to be a baby blanket, and that's it.
Oh, nice. And trust me, this is making the cut. I'm editing none of this. So without further ado, let's jump straight into it. I'm going to disappear off. I'll put them up on screen. Just as last time, Becca has not seen any of these, so these are all fresh to her. She doesn't know the titles, the genres. But away we go.
Okay.
Whoops, that doesn't show it.
I'm about to deceive my best friend Alex at our favorite spot in town. Is this middle grade by any chance?
It is YA.
Okay. I guess I'm more interested in the nature of the deception, or I think this could be articulated with a more dynamic approach. So what my best friend Alex doesn't know is that I'm about to, deceive him is kind of weak. So, what my best friend Alex doesn't know is X. And then just see how starting there activates this a little bit more. You really kind of suck the tension out of a moment when you tell us it's coming. And so I think by changing how the sentence is put together, you can maintain more balance between tension and content, right? Telling us what's going on without sort of destroying our interest in knowing what comes next.
Cool. That is Like Other Girls by Nicoletta Pungias, I want to say. It's a YA romance, and the author's from Germany.
Great.
Okay, here's our next one.
Am I getting old, or is the print much tinier than it usually is?
I guess the more words there are, I guess.
Right before I fainted and knocked over a chocolate display in a hoity-toity Kensington gourmet market, I saw the face of my definitely dead husband. Okay. I like everything that's going on here. This sort of funny moment, and then this serious reason why it happens. Serious and intriguing reason why it happens. But the structure of this feels very quotidian to me and a little bit hackneyed. And I'd like to see just a more dynamic approach to how we are getting this information. This is all telling, right? You're telling us what happened instead of showing us. And so I would start there. I would say this is an interesting thing to have happen, but if you can show us that it's happening instead of telling us about it after the fact, this idea would be better served and better brought to life.
Cool. That one was from Second Chances, a romance by B.B. Thompson. Okay, let's get the next one up here.
J. Griffin's thigh tingled under the heavy, reeking poultice. Ooh, this is gross. I mean, reeking poultices are not my favorite. So evocative, right? Evocative in its only way. I don't know who the narrator is here. So the narrator is maybe a close third person limited because close enough to know how Jay's leg feels, and close enough to get the, aroma. At the same time, this could be first person narration, but from our watcher, whoever's observing this happen. So I feel really blah about this. It's gross, and it's not really an invitation in. It kind of makes me stop and go, ugh. And I don't know if that serves your story. What's the genre on this?
This one, I think it's just that, right? It's within mystery thriller suspense called Griffins Cure by J.C. Paulson.
Okay, so then maybe we are in third person limited. I don't know. I hope there's another way into this scene because heavy reeking poultices just don't make me want to keep going. I'm not gonna lie. I'm like very squeamish, so I don't. Maybe I might be just the wrong audience for this one.
They just open a book and go, nope, not for me.
It's a hard death. Yeah, anything with teeth, I would. Yeah, no. I'm not the person for that. The swirling dust and noise of moving cattle increased as Millie and the cowboys neared the branding corral. The swirling dust and noise of moving cattle increased. It's the word increased that's sort of stuck in my craw here. I would rather hear that the swirling dust and noise reached a crescendo, or I know dust doesn't really crescendo. The problem is that we're trying to find a word that describes both something visual and something aural increasing, but the word increase is so blah here. And so I'm wondering if there's a way to separate these ideas in order to make each of them more powerful. So when I think about increasing noise, I think of the word crescendo. And when I think about swirling dust, I might think of, words like obscure or tornado or something like that. So I just think trying to address both of these very separate senses with a single verb is the problem. I would retool this pretty much completely to make it more evocative, right? Don't be in such a rush to get to the corral, so to speak. I would kind of slow down a little bit and really activate those senses. Swirling dust and noise, you're kind of, it's shorthand for what I see and what I hear, but I want you to really get in there and tell me and show me, what is being seen and heard.
Okay, that's Magpie Mantra by Abby Ripley, historical fiction.
Oh. I slammed the back door of Aunt Effie. Is this Effie? I know that this is, what is it? Effie? Okay. I slammed the back door of Aunt Effie's house as hard as I could, sprinted across her yard, and ducked into the woods. Okay, again, I think we had this in the last video too, which is a sort of obvious cue that this doesn't take place in the US, which is fine. I'm interested in why this protagonist is leaving. I am learning that she takes refuge in nature, which is always good to know. I think this is effective. You know, I think it's. I would keep reading. I mean, I'm interested in why she left, but I don't necessarily think that we should start in the moment of eruption. You know, we're obviously in this moment of sort of decompressing emotions. At least that's kind of how it feels because of the slammed door. Yeah, I like this. This has my seal of approval. What is this? What is this? What is
The author is Shelley George. She put this down as fiction, which doesn't quite help. The title is Seamus O'Rourke and the Summer of Swampfoot, which says to me like middle grade YA maybe at the edge.
Yeah, I don't know. Very hard to tell. I have no idea.
But yeah, I'm guessing it's set in Ireland.
Yes. The old hag taught the little children that they needed a wand to perform a spell. Oh, how untrue. Well, the punctuation's a nightmare. I mean, this is not how we use a semicolon, and this is not how we use ellipses. So I'm not sure what I'm supposed to make of that. A semicolon is used to connect two complete sentences. That means we need a subject and verb on either side of the semicolon. And here's the kicker. If you're going to break out the big guns and use a semicolon, I want it to be because the nuance of the sentences is essential to their meaning, right? I want you to signal to me that, wait, don't close the door on idea one until you consider idea two. Okay? Or vice versa. You know, maybe you're telling me, keep that in your mind while you consider the second part of the sentence. So this does not satisfy that. Also, when I see a sort of very rudimentary vocabulary, I wonder why you would even use a semicolon, because young readers don't know what to make of a semicolon. So I don't think this is considering its end user, its reader. And I would maybe change it. I'm interested in the idea of the children needing a wand to perform a spell, but I don't have any context for this. I mean, are they at like Hogwarts Part 2? I mean, where is this? What is this? This is perhaps the wrong way to enter this story.
Yeah, that's Jude Deverage's fantasy novel, The Ankh. It feels to me like it's like quite a bit younger.
Yeah.
It's a bit odd that they're immediately setting up a rule that is not a rule anymore, like within the first sentence.
Right.
This thing was true. It's not true, by the way. Don't worry.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be different if this was personalized. You know, Miss Havisham always told us X, Y, Z, but that's not what this is. It's so general, and then to contradict your own generality doesn't make a lot of sense.
Okay, here's the next one.
Fire spread across the warehouse floor like orange marmalade, wicking into the suit fabric of the two bodies lying face down on the concrete. So marmalade doesn't go anywhere fast, right? Isn't the nature of marmalade that it's kind of slow? You can flip over a jar of marmalade and it like doesn't necessarily spill out.
If it's been spread by a skillful sandwich maker.
This makes me think about Paddington Bear, which probably not intended. So fire doesn't spread across the warehouse floor like orange marmalade. That's the first problem. Wicking into the suit fabric of the two bodies lying face down on the concrete. For me, warehouse floor and concrete are redundant. I think it's very obvious that a warehouse floor would be concrete. Maybe not. I guess it could be linoleum. But there's a lot of focus on the floor here. And there's a lot of, like, wicking into the suit fabric. I don't know. We have this, like, chunky, slow-moving fire that tastes delicious. And then we're focused on the suit fabric instead of the bodies on which those suits are, lying, I guess. This, to me, is very confusing and a little muddled. Not sure this is the right way to enter. a fire is exciting. Was it, started? Is it arson? Like, what's going on here? But I think the language here is just not, it's not doing the work that the sentence needs it to do.
That's Mystery Thriller Suspense by Brendan Nichols. The title is The Fire is Also Light.
The fire is a lot of things, right? The fire is light. The fire is marmalade. The fire is a lot of things. The fire is fire. So I don't know. Freddie Milton had to kill his son no matter how much it tore him apart. Well, let's start with the punctuation. This is a hyphen, and hyphens are not used this way. So a hyphen is used to connect things, not to separate things. The separation dash that you're looking for is called an M-EM, not to be confused with the N-EN, which is used to indicate like a bridge, Monday through Thursday or May, December. But this is a hyphen. So this is the wrong mark of punctuation here, but you don't need an M dash. You don't need a big pause here. You just need a humble comma. Let the comma shine. With the comma, when used correctly, is your most powerful piece of punctuation. Freddie Milton had to kill his son, comma, no matter how much it tore him apart. Okay, I'm interested. I'm interested in this. Change the hyphen and we're in business. No, wait, I gotta go back.
Sure.
Okay, so the other little problem is the him in tore him apart technically, grammatically refers to Freddie's son. And so this needs more tweaking. Freddie Milton had to kill his son no matter how much it tore him apart. So this is a pronoun antecedent issue. So a pronoun, right? He, her, she, these kinds of words that stand in for a noun always refers to its nearest named noun. And so technically, I mean, we know you're talking about Freddie, but grammatically, you're talking about his son. I wanted to like this more, but I think it just needs some retooling.
Okay, that was a London gangster one called In the Blood. It's a little gangster thriller.
She could only blame her own stubbornness for her situation. Brilliant ideas often lost their luster with hindsight. So this is two separate sentences. This is what's called a comma splice. Speaking of commas, a lot of grammatical crunchiness today, which I appreciate. A comma splice is when you use a comma in the place of end punctuation, like a period or a semicolon. So this is two separate sentences. We'll look at them both. She could only blame her own stubbornness for her situation. And then if there's a comma, I expect you then to tell me what the situation is or something else relevant to the situation. Brilliant ideas often lost their luster with hindsight. Okay. So maybe what the author's trying to do is say that the situation is a product of one of these brilliant ideas that has since lost its luster. And in that case, you need a little conjunction. She could only blame her own stubbornness for her situation. You could say, but as always, her brilliant ideas often lost their luster with hindsight. So we're in a little bit of a rush. We need some extra words, either conjunction, and, but, for, nor, or, with, yet, right? Those are the most common ones. Be in less of a rush here and make the link between the brilliant idea and the current situation more obvious.
That was King of Ice, Queen of Fire by Aaron Robertson, a fantasy novel.
I like that title.
It's great.
It's a good title.
There's a comma in the title as well.
What's that?
There's a comma in the title as well, which
there is. There is a comma in the title, which well placed. We'll let that stat.
Cool. I'm just going to do one more because we're about to hit the 20-minute mark. But here we have it.
The bark on the weather-beaten stick she'd found chafed against Mary's hands as she sat in brittle silence outside her mother's bedroom chamber. Okay, so a weather-beaten stick is likely stripped of bark. So already my mind is going, well, does it really make sense? Weather-beaten stick. Yeah, I gotta believe there's no bark left on this thing. Sorry. So I don't think it chafes against her hands. I think the wood is probably worn smooth if it is in fact weather-beaten. But if you're looking for something sensory, she could get a splinter, right, from the smooth wood, which would work for you. I don't know what brittle silence means. I see this phrase relatively frequently, but brittle silence would suggest that there's something tenuous or fragile about it. But if she's sitting by herself, what's fragile about that? She's in control of the silence is what I'm saying. And so its brittleness is somewhat questionable. Why does she have a stick inside? I have a lot of questions here. I think there's too much information that we don't need and not enough information that we do need. And, maybe a lack of forethought about how a stick weathers. I don't know. But I don't think this is quite doing what it's supposed to, which is draw me in and make me interested in learning about why Mary is outside her mother's bedroom with a stick. Maybe it's a cudgel. Maybe she's about to commit some kind of crime. We don't know. We want to know. I would rewrite this line.
That's Vindicated by Nancy Allen Mastro, historical fiction. I think we'll just do one more. Why not?
Okay. But with a title like Vindicated, it could be a cudgel. I could be onto something here. Okay. Every instinct deep in her bones told her to kill the double agent and run. Instinct deep in her bones. This is a little bit redundant. Instincts are already bone deep. That's why they're instincts. They're sort of inborn. So I don't need to hear that the instinct was deep in your bones. I find that a little bit tiresome. Every instinct told her to kill the double agent and run. Okay. Mystery, thriller, suspense, I'm assuming.
A fantasy.
Okay.
It's called Tomb of the Last God, so feels like it's almost got like, well, it says to me like an Indiana Jones type thing.
Maybe, or yeah, I mean, but then you have certain fantasy like Sabaa Tahir's work, An Ember in the Ashes and stuff. It's very militaristic fantasy. So is Children of Blood and Bone. There's a lot of military influence in there. I don't think this gives us enough information to really connect with whoever's instinct we're following, right? I kind of before I can trust that this person should or shouldn't follow their instincts, I need to know more about who we're dealing with here. And so I think that's probably what I would say. I don't think this is, again, doing the heavy lifting that first lines have to do in order to be successful.
Okay, cool. Thank you so much. I'm going to find a way to put myself back on here. And thank you very much for joining us again. Folks, we're gonna put Becca's details in the description below. So if you're looking for someone to work with on your next story or book, hit her up on Readsy. She's absolutely fantastic. She can help you shape your book and get it where it really needs to be. And she, believe me, won't lie to you. She's very honest. Early on, she edited a lot of our work over at the Readsy blog, and she certainly cuts to the point. Is there any sort of?
I'm nice about it.
Useful stuff. Like I rather that than have to read through like pages and pages of comments trying to sort of just like gently walk on eggshells.
So that doesn't help anybody.
Yeah. But yeah, like so I think some people are looking for that kind of editor, and you are certainly that, which I think. Are there certain types of projects you're looking to work on at this point?
Love romance. I love contemporary fiction for YA and adults. I am always on the lookout for LGBTQIA plus representation and compassionate representations of mental illness, especially in YA. I'm interested in a lot. Historical fiction. It doesn't hurt to let me know what your project is about, and if I think it's for me, I will let you know.
Cool. And we're looking to rope back into doing another one of these, perhaps in a month or two. So if you subscribe to this channel and follow us on Eventbrite, you'll be the first to know as soon as that happens, and you'll have a chance to send in your first line for her to look at. And who knows, you may appear in a future live edition or in one of our after-hours recorded ones. Thank you so much again, Becca. I hope the weather stays nice for the last few days.
Oh, yeah. The last few days, wild. So when I see you in the next few days, we'll, discuss.
It'll be good. All right.
It'll be good. All right.
Bye.
Bye.